Hello everybody, and today we are going to be checking out a scenario where civilization restarts and spreads across the world. We are now on episode 8 of our series, and in the last episode we saw the full connection between Arabia and China. We saw a lot of Mediterranean exploration, as well as a couple events over here in Eastern Asia. But if you guys do enjoy today's scenario, then please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel a lot, trust me. We are aiming for 100 subscribers by the end of this year, so help us reach our milestone if you really want to. And let's get straight into the video. So first we're going to be over here, starting over here in Central Asia. This is a point that has been a very hot topic in the past couple of episodes, as it is starting to lead the areas of the most economic, focusing. And that's not going to stop, as the gold team and the Caspians are going to start to link out the trade route further, now attempting to get over to this pink country, which they're able to successfully do. But this is a little bit of a hard area, because there's nobody here except these guys, so they're kind of encouraging the people from the orange team to start to settle a new country over here. But no one over here is really going across the desert to deliver that information, so the trade route production is going to quit for a little bit. But in other areas, it's going to expand, with the trade route expanding over here in North Africa. North Africa has been a place that has recently been settled. With the addition of the Libyan team, the Egyptian country is going to be able to create their trade route between themselves and Libya. And economic connection is starting to become a very prevalent topic in this universe. But for now, we're going to go over here to Carthage. Carthage is a new nation that has recently just sprouted up on our map. And it is an interesting one because it is in a very good location economically wise. It's a pretty good mid-ground to go from Iberia to maybe Egypt if you're not stopping in Sicily. So it could kind of look a little something like this with the sea trade routes. And this is going to boost their economy to the point where they're able to get to the south of Gibraltar. And they are pretty friendly with the Iberians. And speaking of the Iberians, they are going to go up here and conquer a little bit of the northern Mediterranean, kind of at the south of France. And I think that's basically the entirety of the Mediterranean conquered, because you have these areas, but that's probably going to be gobbled up in the next couple seconds. But moving away from here, a big group from the Iberians is going to go up here into France, reaching Brest. They're going to go past Normandy and into the areas of the Seine River. So if I actually pull up the rivers really quickly, that's going to be very helpful. They get to the end of this riverbed and go a little bit beyond, but, the Alps. And a large group is going to go up here, and they are going to go past the Netherlands all the way here to Denmark. They proceed to discover the entire peninsula and the surrounding islands, and they are going to establish their own nation. This nation will be a dark purple nation. I'm just checking if there are any nearby. Nope, we should be good. This brand new Danish country is going to be made of explorers from the Iberians, as we just saw. Their capital will be right here, and they're going to continue to expand, with them reaching all the way over here to this island and getting onto Copenhagen. But they cannot expand across the entire thing because their main assets are over here in Denmark and exploring the areas around it, because the actual push to discover these areas has dropped a lot since their creation. So while expansion is limited, it is still happening. But this was one of two divisions. The other division is going to go here north of the Alps, and they're just going to spearhead into these European areas, subsequently also discovering these Benelux or lowland areas. And they're going to work together with the Danish to try and discover a lot of Western Europe. This goes successfully, and there are going to be some people that are going to settle down right here. They're going to make sort of a dark red country up here in France. And their practice is actually going to be very similar over here to China. You can see China is definitely establishing their borders across this river area. And that really isn't a very common practice other than the Nile. But yeah, these guys are doing it over here in Europe. This is because notably these guys' economy is very weak, so getting the riverbeds is going to be very important. Soon enough, they are going to start to expand up north, but now it is time for a capital. And if you don't get a capital, then your government isn't centralized. And if your government isn't centralized, then you're going to collapse. So capital is going to be right there. And we are going to see one final nation spring up over here in Brest. This is going to be sort of a green civilization. And once again, this is just a group of people that decided to settle down here. They are going to establish their borders on this northern area of the river and expand down south to this area of the river. But after that, they're just going to kind of do whatever over here in the east. And their capital will be established right here. And with that, we now have a big bundle of new European nations. and some of them are scarily close to Great Britain. I almost just said Great Britain. Anyways, going away from Europe, we are going to go over here to Southeast Asia, where we are going to see some more expansion. The Lime team is going to expand further into these areas. Now, I don't know if these areas are very geographically important, at least at like an economy standpoint, but the Lime team really, could not care less. As the Vietnamese country is also claiming a lot of this land, and it's kind of like a little bit of a power struggle, but, it shouldn't be too bad. If you have two countries that are beefing, but they're relatively weak, then you should be like, okay. Now, the largest nation, this actually just came to my mind, I'm pretty sure it would be like a battle between the red team and China. The red team's pretty big, and China's also really big. But we're going to see something that's going to diminish their size, and that's going to be over here in Japan. Japan is going to splinter into two nations, with a rebellion, kind of like a brownish, reddish rebellion up here, and a teal rebellion down here. Now, these are two very essential areas for the Japanese colony to function under Chinese rule. And with both of these rebellions being established and their declaration that they are not like a single area like mainland rebellion, other pockets are going to start to pledge their allegiance to these rebellions. So that means that the Chinese are basically cooked over here in Japan. This rebellion, this like tealish whitish, is going to be primarily located here in the south, with them capturing these two southern islands as well as making a southern landing on Honshu. They also captured the areas here of Tokyo, and we see a new pocket over here in this peninsula. But the brown rebellion is going to be a lot more spread out, as they are economically a lot more like relatable to one another. These guys are primarily farmers, so they are going to have a lot of pockets over here that may have been neglected by like laws created by China. And with these pockets linking up with each other, they are going to be able to... What the hell? I don't know why that went off. But the brown team is going to continue their campaign of just stumbling across this Chinese territory and absolutely just demolishing it. And with the north falling under primary brown team revolutionary forces, the rest is going to be inherited by the southern Chinese rebellion, except a little bit of stuff up here. But other than that, boom. And I actually really like how this border looks, so they're going to stay on the border of which their troops met. And it looks like there aren't any rivers, so that means that the capitals can kind of just be anywhere, so these guys will have it right here, and the northern capital will be here. Alright, so we have two Japans, and when you have two Japans, that's going to inspire some people over here in Hokkaido. Though the rebellion groups are going to be way more different than the brown team and the teal team. One of them is going to be a part of the very urban populated section over here, and the rest is going to be a big rebellion made up of local farmers. And with these two rebellions getting their independence, I'm actually going to tweak these guys' color a little bit. Yep, I like that a little bit more. The border they are going to settle on is going to make their size difference very apparent. These guys is having their capital over here, these guys right here. And now we have four independent Japanese nations, with one of them expanding up here to the islands of like the Kuril Islands, I think. Not exactly sure what they're called, but they are conquered by the northeastern Hokkaidoian country. In response to this, Korea is just going to start to expand and take more land, and the Sakhalin country is also just going to start to expand inward, and more territory is going to be discovered by the Sakhalese country. And of course, with new territory discovered comes with new territory that is conquered. The Koreans are also going to expand a little bit up here. And the Chinese are just going to expand their country a lot. They are going to mainly and primarily focus over here in the west, mainly trying to spearhead out here, making this area a lot bigger. But something that is happening is going to make the Chinese country very sad, is that these areas are not very connected to the Chinese government. And there are going to be two rebellions that appear, with a pink one right down over here, and a light red one over here. Not light red, dark red, my bad. And these two rebellions are going to be quite frightening for the prospect of China. I just realized my light is on a weird ambience. Here, I think that's a little better. I think I'm going to change these guys' color a little bit. I'm like choosing all of these colors, and I'm just like realizing they don't look good. I think this color is fine. But yeah, these rebellions are going to be pretty easily able to encompass a lot of these areas, with the southeastern one noticeably not having as easy of a time as the northern one, which is easily going to be able to take all of these areas that don't feel culturally connected to the Chinese country. China is pretty scared at this country, so they are just going to give them the territory they want, signing a ceasefire on this line. And this rebellion is going to gain a lot of traction over here, and eventually they are forced to sign a ceasefire with China as well. With the end borders looking a little something like this, China has lost a lot of their northern influence. Bada boom. Bada... Oh, there's no trade route up here. Oh, but there is a river. Bada bing. But next, going down over here to Somalia, there's going to be a big group that is going to push for the southward exploration, so they are going to do that. This is going to be relatively easy as a lot of operatives are going to be assisting the Somalian country. Mainly, the Orange country is going to be assisting them with these as they want to explore a lot and possibly get a little bit of the economic output from these areas. You know, it's kind of a gamble because they don't know if there is any economic output. And the Somali country is just going to continue to expand inward. I know it seems a little bit repetitive, but this is probably most likely what would happen. The nations are just going to start expanding a lot. We're in a little bit of a golden age, if you know what I mean. They're like, the countries, they're strong, and they're strong to the point where they can actually like start to seriously expand. Like the Romans, they're going to go farther north and even conquer a lot of this Mediterranean coastline, bypassing the Alps. And now the only area of the Mediterranean that isn't like claimed is this area. But we're going to have a big push of explorers that are going to explore a lot of these areas. If you look at the rivers, the Danube is pretty predominant here, so they're trying to get up to that. And eventually, the Danish and the Brown team is just going to be like, yeah, we're going to meet up somewhere here. So the Danish, in partnership with the Brest and Red French country, they're all going to team up, and eventually they're going to link up with each other, encircling this big portion of undiscovered land. The Western European nations primarily work on the western areas, and now the Alps are just left. I'm not sure if that's like the actual like shape of them, but that's what we're just going to have to deal with for now. But exploration eastward is going to be quite limited. And we are going to see a new nation being established on the Danube. It's literally just going to be like a green blob. But these guys may as well just be like funded by the Brown team, because they are. Their capital is going to be right here at the tri-section of the Danube. And they're going to link up with the Eastern Romanian country for a lot of economic development. And just in general, the Eastern Romanians are going to expand a lot along with the kind of like light brown team. These guys are pretty interesting. They were kind of like a proxy of the Brown team, but then they were just kind of like left in the dust because a lot of funding was paused. But them and the Roman country are going to be able to finish off the scraps of the Mediterranean, meaning that every square inch of coastline in the Mediterranean has now been claimed. And on that note, Civilization Episode 8 will end. If you guys did enjoy today's video, then please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video, Episode 9 of What If Civilization Restarted.